Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Which is peace on Yahweh's holy Sabbath day. Welcome to another holy convocation that Yahweh has enjoined unto us here in Stone Mountain, Georgia. We can clearly see by the things that are going on that the redemption of the children of Israel is getting near. And Yahweh is allowing certain things to happen that he might get our attention. What we're really witnessing is a love story between Yahweh and the children of Israel. But because we've been given all of these theatrical plays and fairy tale things growing up, we don't recognize a real love story when we see it. And this thing between Yahweh and the children of Israel is something that endures all problems, everything. Yahweh still doesn't completely do away with the children of Israel, no matter how much trouble he has to go through in doing so. And it is a true lesson of love for us in our natural relationships and our natural things, to see all that Yahweh is willing to do for his wife. As it is written, I am married unto you. And all of these things that we undergo, it is to persuade us to get closer to repentance. But it's hard to get a stiff-necked people to repent. It is hard to get a stiff-necked people to even admit that something has been done, which is step number one in repentance. So if we get stuck at that first step, we never progress after that. But brother, would you read the oracle and entreat the angels that stand at the door to come in and sup with us and us with him, that we may make this a holy convocation by the angel's presence?
1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober, and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gift, even so minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua the Mashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through chapter 5 and verse 4. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you are sealed until the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim, as dear children, and walk in love, as the Mashiach also have loved us, and has given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication and all uncleanness or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as become saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather given of thanks. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with your mouth, and let not your heart be hasty to utter anything before Elohim. For Elohim is in heaven, and you upon earth. Therefore let your words be few. Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 and 21. Behold, I send an angel before you to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him, and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I have also overcame and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
All right, we're going to begin today's sermon in Genesis chapter 24. Genesis chapter 24, and we're going to read verses 1 through 8. And the title of today's sermon is The Wife of Thy Youth. The Wife of Thy Youth. And we're going to begin in Genesis chapter 24. And we're going to read verses 1 through 8.
Verse 1. And Abraham was old and well stricken in age, and Yahweh had blessed Abraham in all things. And Abraham said unto his eldest servant of his house, that ruled over all that he had, Put, I pray you, your hand under my thigh, and I'll make you swear by Yahweh, the El of heaven, and the El of the earth, that you shall not take a wife unto my son of the daughters of the Canaanites, among whom I dwell.
Right. So even living in this land, and a lot of times, we have to deal within the surroundings of where we are. He said, swear to me that you are not going to pick one of these women that are around here to get a wife for my son, because what you're dealing with is culture. What a lot of times people take this into dealing with is just a racial thing of the racial divide between people, like what we have going on now. But what you're more so dealing with is culture. That with these different cultures, it has been a real easy thing for man to get off of the things that he's supposed to be on, based upon when you consider the woman that he cleaves to and the culture that she then has. You looked at how difficult it was for Moshe to get the circumcision. It was all because he was married to a foreign woman, being in that land for 40 years, being in that land and not being in that land with his people. See, these are the things a lot of times people make correlations, but they don't make the correlations right. When you talk about the children of Israel going into captivity together, they were in captivity with their own people. Moshe wasn't in captivity with his own people. He was in captivity by himself. So having then married this foreign woman, she wasn't trying to hear that circumcision. They was fighting over this circumcision. She wasn't trying to hear not damn day of that. And then when she did it, she had all kind of lip. You are a bloody husband unto me because of this circumcision. But the bottom line was, if he didn't get it done, Yahweh was about to do something to him. So what that shows us is we have to consider which fights are necessary for us to have and which things are not necessary. When it comes down to salvation, those are necessary fights. Ain't no way of getting around those. Go ahead.
Genesis chapter 24 and verse 4. But you shall go unto my country and to my kindred, and take a wife unto my son Esaac. And the servant said unto him, Peradventure the woman will not be willing to follow me unto this land. Must I needs bring your son again unto the land from whence you came? And Abraham said unto him, Beware you that you bring not my son thither again.
These are almost impossible odds. You mean tell me you want me to go and get a strange woman? And when I say strange, I mean, look, she don't know me. I don't know her. But I'm supposed to get this woman to come back and marry a man she ain't never seen? Hey, man, hold on, man. These are impossible odds. Then, you don't want me to bring the boy so she can at least see the dude. Say, all right, well, yeah, all right, yeah, I can deal with that. She don't even get a chance to do that now. These are almost impossible odds. But one thing he knows, the women of his kindred, these women were taught a certain way. See, it's almost, just unthinkable for us to believe that there can even be some kind of arranged marriage and it work. Because we looking at, man, they don't even know each other. In the grand scheme of things, when we get married today, we don't know each other. Because everybody's showing their interview face. You don't find the real person until sometime later. Wait a minute. I didn't know you pick your nose in your sleep. What is this? What is this? I didn't know you do. Right. That was the interview. Oh, that was my interview self. I didn't show you the real me. Right. So what's the difference? He marrying a woman he didn't know. We marry people we don't know all the time. Go ahead.
Verse 7. Yahweh Elohim of heaven, which took me from my father's house and from the land of my kindred, and which spake unto me, and that sware unto me, saying, Unto your seed will I give this land. He shall send his angel before you, and you shall take a wife unto my son from thence. And if the woman will not be willing to follow you, then you shall be clear from this my oath. Only bring not my son thither again.
Only do not bring my son back here. He is serious about not backtracking into all of these things so that they won't end up picking up all of these bad customs that he himself has had to flee from. Let's go to Numbers chapter 11. He said, whatever you do, don't bring my son back in. If the woman won't follow you, then that's that. But don't bring him back in. Back to that place. Numbers 11, and we're going to read verses 1 through 17.
And when the people complained, it displeased Yahweh. And Yahweh heard it. And his anger was kindled. And the fire of Yahweh burnt among the people, and consumed them that were in the uttermost parts of the camp. And the people cried unto Moshe. And when Moshe prayed unto Yahweh, the fire was quenched. And he called the name of that place Taberah, because the fire of Yahweh burnt among them. And the mixed multitude that was among them fell a-lusting. And the children of Israel also wept again, and said, Who shall give us flesh to eat?
Right. Understand that the mixed multitude, they're coming to get out of Egypt and out from under the hand of Egypt. But then what you end up having is this mixed multitude. These people have different cultures. See, it's not what we focus on is the race of these people, the ethnic background of these people. When you think about this mixed multitude, you have to think about how big and how much Egypt conquered everything. And whenever you have a conquering, just like you have of Babylon, you got people of different cultures all mixed in together. In every last one of those kingdoms, you have the same thing. This is the Euro-Gentiles push to rule the world. The only way you get to rule the world, or if you're even attempting to do that, that means you got to put all of these mix of different people that you've conquered together. And they need to blend those cultures so that the people are not divided. So right off the rip, coming out, this mixed multitude who their push is not to worship Yahweh. Their push is to get away from their current situation, which is Egypt. So you have to look at why certain things are done. So now that this mixed multitude has then come up with them, they're not trying to go through all of the stuff with Israel. So that's why when people try to give us this this crazy Israelite tribal chart, and they try to say the Mexicans are this, the Mexicans, these people are that, when it come down for the children of Israel to leave out of here and go through all of those things, watch and see if they come with us and go through anything that we're going through. That's going to end that tribal conversation right there. Go ahead.
You know, in this situation here, this request and weeping of the children of Israel was started by somebody else's lust.
Right. Same thing happened to us today. It's worse with us today because these kids deal everything on the internet. What would have been a conversation man to man or woman to woman back in our days, nowadays it's had on the internet. So now you got 100 other people putting in their little 2 cents. If I was you, I wouldn't do that. If I was you, I wouldn't take that. So now they getting all riled up on the computer that now all of these people have then forced them to do things that they wasn't going to even do if other people had not been pushing into that situation. But this is one of those things where he says, you understand where he said, look, don't get a wife for my son from amongst these people. Go back to my land amongst my kindred, and I know how those women are raised. Get one of them for my son to marry. It didn't even, there's not even this period of, you know, hey, get to know the woman. No. Go over there, get a woman that was raised like this, and my son gonna marry. Go ahead.
Verse 5.
Now, we got a problem with that. See? We got a problem with that because we said, look, I want to make my own choices. Well, we've been making our own choices. How it's been working out for us? Right. Read.
We remember the fish, which we did eat in Egypt freely, the cucumbers and the melons, and the leeks, and the onions, and the garlic. But now our soul is dried away. There is nothing at all beside this manna before our eyes. And the manna was as coriander seed, and the color thereof as the color of bdellium. And the people went about and gathered it, and ground it in mills, or beat it in a mortar, and baked it in pans, and made cakes of it. And the taste of it was as the taste of fresh oil. And when the dew fell upon the camp in the night, the manna fell upon it. Then Moshe heard the people weep throughout their families, every man in the door of his tent, and the anger of Yahweh was kindled greatly. Moshe also was displeased.
See, we don't understand just how displeasing it is for Yahweh to hear us constantly complain. See, Israel like a bunch of old people. You know, you see them old people get together and they just talk about what all wrong with them. I got a bad leg. Well, I got a bad arm. Well, my elbow don't even bend when I do like that right here. Well, I can't see in front of my eyes. I can't see nothing. So now we just trying to figure out if we can outdo the ailments of each other. Whatever wrong with you, I got more wrong with me. And it's displeasing unto Yahweh. So man, I done came halfway across the world to come get these people. And all I hear is constant complaints. Go ahead.
And Moshe said unto Yahweh, wherefore have you afflicted your servant? And wherefore have I not found favor in your sight, that you lay the burden of all this people upon me?
Right. So he like, look, I don't want this job right here. I don't want this job. You can't get nobody else to do this. Go ahead.
Have I conceived all this people? Have I begotten them? That you should say unto me, carry them in your bosom?
These ain't my children. These your children. It said the children of Israel, not the children of Moshe. These ain't my children. Go ahead.
As a nursing father beareth the sucking child unto the land which you sweareth unto their fathers? When should I have flesh to give unto all this people? For they weep unto me, saying, give us flesh that we may eat. I am not able to bear all this people alone, because it is too heavy for me. And if you deal thus with me, kill me, I pray you.
Kill me. Kill me. Let me die. See, everybody want to be a ruler and a leader. Everybody keep talking about we need to come together. I don't think people understand what they're asking for. You trying to be the ruler over these people right here? You might want to read what the other rulers of this people have gone through before you sign yourself up to be a ruler over Israel. And everybody want to get together. Let me tell you, y'all was going to have to push me into that spot. Because I done read what them brothers went through. I'm not signing myself up for that one. They say, hey, you want to be a leader, throw your name in the hat. I'm going to put my hand behind my back. I ain't putting my hand in no hat. I done seen what they going through. You want to definitely make sure that Yahweh has chosen you for that job. Here it is. This brother's like, man, I don't what, man. Every time there are times when the children of Israel, things didn't go their way, and they were trying to stone Moshe. And And you got folk trying to sign themselves up for that. I'm not signing myself up to try to get stoned from the very people that I'm trying to save. Go ahead.
Out of hand, if I have found favor in your sight, and let me not see my wretchedness. And Yahweh said unto Moshe, gather unto me 70 men of the elders of Israel.
Now you have to understand then how much spirit Moshe must have had, that he's now going to divide this spirit among 70 other men. Go ahead.
Whom you know to be the elders of the people, and officers over them, and bring them on to the tabernacle of the congregation, that they may stand there with you. And I'll come down and talk with you there, and I'll take of the spirit which is upon you, and will put it upon them, and they shall bear the burden of the people with you, that you bear it not yourself alone.
Right. And you have to consider just how much was given unto this man. Do understand, a lot of times when we're looking at the whole setup, and we look at the priesthood and all of those things, the priesthood was set up under Aaron, Moshe's brother. Understand, it says, told to Moshe, you will be in the stead of Elohim. Aaron will be your prophet. So then Moshe stood in the stead of Elohim. He had his own prophet. He had somebody to speak for him. So a lot of times when we look at the things that Moshe went through, they were completely outside of what the children of Israel went through. And even when Moshe gave the prophecy of another leader, he said, another leader like unto me. The only one that could be that was Christ. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 24.
You know, when you put it that way, of him standing in the stead of Elohim onto them, then you understand when he said, it's not you they reject.
Exactly. Exactly.
They can't come and say it directly to me.
Right. And that's what we do. You know, we sidesteppers. You know, we sidesteppers and side talkers. We talk out the side of our neck in a minute. Because we can't go right and display our indignation to Yahweh. We display our indignation in different ways, but Yahweh see it. Yahweh said, no. I know this is about me. I don't care what that is you said it was about. No. This is about indignation with me. I know that's a man that you see, but that's not who your indignation with. Deuteronomy chapter 24, and let's read verses 1 through 4.
When a man has taken a wife and married her, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes, because he has found some uncleanness in her, then let him write her a bill of divorcement, and give it in her hand, and send her out of his house. Now,
when it's found some uncleanness, you'll understand when you start looking at that some uncleanness is dealing with fornication or adultery. But what people did was take this in a broad manner. This is why they ended up asking the Messiah, is it lawful for a man to divorce his wife for every cause? Because, you know, here, they'll tell you, you know, you can just say irreconcilable differences and you know, it's a done deal. You just say, look, we can't get along. You know, I like Frosted Flake. She like Fruit Loops. You know, I mean, that's grounds for divorce. Yeah. You know, I mean, I can't be with no Fruit Loop lover. You know, right? Read, man.
Verse 2. And when she is departed out of his house, she may go and be another man's wife.
Mm-hmm.
And if the latter husband hate her, and write her a bill of divorcement, and give it in her hand, and sends her out of his house,
mm-hmm.
or if the latter husband die, which took her to be his wife, her former husband, which sent her away, may not take her again to be his wife, after that she is defiled.
Mm-hmm.
For that is abomination before Yahweh.
So now, this same situation has then become an abomination if she decides to go back to the husband that she has been separated from before. Go ahead.
And you shall not cause the land to sin.
So now you cause the land to sin. When you allow those things to go on. So now the sin is not just necessarily with the individual person. Now the sin has spread out. Go ahead.
Which Yahweh your Elohim gives you for an inheritance.
Right. The land that he has given you for an inheritance has now sits in sin because of other issues that were not dealt with. Let's back up to chapter 22. And let's read verses 13 through 22.
Deuteronomy chapter 22 and verse 13. If any man take a wife and go in unto her and hate her.
All right, now you got to keep reading. You can't stop. I know that we used to that Sunday morning thing where we read a verse and then they're singing and dancing and stuff like that. It'd be very dangerous for you to start reading this stuff right here and read one verse and go into a song and dance. All right, keep reading. Go ahead.
And give occasions of speech against her, and bring up an evil name upon her, and say, I took this woman, and when I came to her, I found her not a maid.
When he says, I took this woman, I came to her and found her not a maid, that means I found her not to be a virgin. This is what a maid is, a virgin, a woman who has not lain with a man. So what you want to do, especially, we can't do false advertisement. So that thing that we like to do, give that interview face. They had tokens of virginity, and if those things were not found, it was a problem. Go ahead.
Then shall the father of the damsel and her mother take and bring forth the tokens of the damsel's virginity unto the elders of the city in the gate. And the damsel's father shall say unto the elders, I gave my daughter unto this man to wife, and he hates her. And lo, he has given occasions of speech against her, saying, I found not your daughter a maid. And yet these are the tokens of my daughter's virginity. And they shall spread the cloth before the elders of the city. And the elders of that city shall take that man and chastise him. And they shall immerse him in 100 shekels of silver, and give them unto the father of the damsel, because he has brought up an evil name upon a virgin of Israel. And she shall be his wife, he may not put her away all his days. But if this thing be true, and the tokens of virginity be not found for the damsel.
So then you see how important then the tokens of virginity are. Because let's say that it was a false report. But if they can't find the tokens of virginity, which is the cloth that was laid up under them the first time he was with this woman, then there's a problem. Go ahead.
Then they shall bring out the damsel to the door of her father's house, and the men of her city shall stone her with stones that she die.
See, we need to understand just how serious this whole thing of adultery and fornication is. See, we got a land that we got to go back into. And the things that are allowed to be in Israel now cannot be allowed to be in that land when we get in it. So the things that people just take as something trivial here, those things that get you killed in that land. Go ahead.
Because she has wrought folly in Israel, to play the whore in her father's house. So shall you put evil away from among you.
Right. The tokens of your virginity now is your baptism certificate. And we know some of those, some people will get baptized on their way into going into that land. But those are the tokens of your virginity. Being born again and having all of those other things wiped off, that is your tokens. Matthew chapter 19. See, because we're so accustomed to looking at the love stories on television, we don't recognize the love story that Yahweh has put right before our faces. No matter how many things he goes through with the children of Israel, his undying love for her does not completely allow him to go away from Israel. Matthew chapter 19, and let's read verses 7 through 9.
They say unto him, Why did Moshe then command to give a writing of divorcement, and to put her away? He says unto them, Moshe, because of the hardness of your heart, suffered you to put away your wives. But from the beginning it was not so.
From the beginning it was not so. Go ahead.
And I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, and shall marry another, commits adultery.
And I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, and shall marry another, commits adultery. Go ahead.
And whoso marries her which is put away does commit adultery.
So whosoever marries her that is put away commits adultery as well. It is a constant state of adultery. So we have to consider these things. And Yahshua is saying this is the way that it was from the beginning. But because of the hardness of your heart, Yahweh has allowed Moshe to have a provision there. We should not still be operating in the hardness of our hearts in the way that we did before our baptism. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 5.
Proverbs chapter 5 and verse 1. My son, attend unto my wisdom, and bow thine ear to my understanding, that you mayest regard discretion, and that your lips may keep knowledge. For the lips of a strange woman drop as an honeycomb, and her mouth is smoother than oil.
Right. The lips. So now you have, Yahweh says that he's married unto Israel, and then you have this correlation between the natural and the spiritual. This strange woman is that strange doctrine, and there are many strange doctrines and many strange women. When you get down to Solomon dealing with these strange women, what ended up happening? He started building houses of worship, and then there was this strange gods that they were worshiping. So you have the strange doctrine, which is the strange woman in the spiritual, and then you have the strange woman in the flesh that's there in the natural. So when it gets down to a man not being coerced into dealing with those things, you have to consider this on both sides. It says, for the lips of a strange woman drop as a honeycomb, and her mouth is smoother than oil. You go to church on Sunday, they tell you, look, you ain't got to worry about nothing. God ain't mad with you. You can do whatever you want. You can do, don't worry about none of that stuff. See, that's that smooth talk. You face that same thing in the natural. You going through something at the house, here comes some strange woman. Oh my goodness, you look so nice. She act like she don't even see your belly hanging over your stomach. She act, what belly? What you talking about? Right. Her mouth smoother than oil. She'll say whatever she got. Brothers and sisters are the same. They'll say whatever they got to say to get what they want. Ain't no different in brothers that it is in sisters. When it's in that flesh, they'll say whatever they got to say to get whatever it is they want to get. That mouth is smoother than oil. That's why some sisters have fallen for brothers, because they just talk just as smooth. You find out it's just a bunch of lies. But at some point, you got to grow up and say, how many times I'm going to keep falling for this? Go ahead.
Verse 4. But her end is bitter as wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword.
Right. That's when the interview face wear off. And then, you see the real person that's standing there. See, but the words were smoother than oil to start with, but the end is bitter as wormwood. See, that's why you have to, this word says, your power is to sit still. Sometimes you got to sit still long enough to see something for what it is. But we so in a hurry to get into situations that we can't see the true nature of that situation until we are already knee deep in it. Go ahead.
Her feet go down to death. Her steps take hold on hell. Lest you should ponder the path of life. Her ways are movable, that you cannot know them.
Her ways are movable, that you cannot know them. Like my elder said, you don't know nothing about that woman. What you know about that woman? Her ways are movable. This is why Abraham said, no. Go back and get one of those women. Because see, I know how they were taught. I know how they were raised. People who are raised a certain way are going to operate in a certain way. Go ahead.
Hear me now, therefore, O you children, and depart not from the words of my mouth. Remove your way far from her, and come not near to the door of her house, lest you give your honor unto others, and your years unto the cruel.
And that happened. What happened with Shlomo? His honor and all his substance strangers ended up having it. Go ahead.
Lest strangers be filled with your wealth, and your labors be in the house of a stranger. And you mourn at the last, when your flesh and your body are consumed, and say, how have I hated instruction, and my heart despised reproof.
You know, everybody have those things on their deathbed. You notice everybody bold until the dying day. You can talk to people and they'll be stiff-necked, rebellious, all of that, until the day that their breath is leaving their body. Then all of a sudden they repenting everywhere. I had a brother that was mad at me for I don't know how long. When he got in the hospital and he was ready to die, oh my goodness, did I get some phone calls?
He thought he was going to die.
Huh?
He thought he was going to die.
Oh yeah, his breath was leaving him. See? Oh, he got on the phone like it wasn't nothing. But see, everybody's strong. And everybody think that they gonna still be, you know, I'm gonna be strong all the way to my dying day until the day come to die. Then they, what happened? I thought you were gonna be tough. Because in their mind, everybody thinks that, you know, they're not going to deal with that come that day. But we watch the same thing on all the gangster movies. All the gangsters killed 20, 30 people until it hit time to die. Now he begging, please don't give me. Please don't. Man, you just killed 30 people. What you begging for? And we think that we're going to still be in that state when it comes down to that point. And then it says, how have I hated instruction and my heart despised reproof? See, that hardiness won't let you receive any instruction. And it's too late to receive instruction on your deathbed. But see, that's what a strange woman said. All you got to do is have enough air in your lungs to say, forgive me, Jesus. Right. See, that's that strange woman. See, she said you can do all manner of hell. And as long as you got enough breath to say, forgive me, then you got it just like that. Go ahead.
Verse 13. And have not obeyed the voice of my teachers, nor inclined my ear to them that instructed me. I was almost in all evil in the midst of the congregation and assembly. Drink waters out of your own cistern, and running waters out of your own well. Let your fountains be dispersed abroad, and rivers of waters in the streets. Let them be only your own, and not strangers with you. Let your fountain be blessed, and rejoice with the wife of your youth.
Rejoice with the wife of thy youth. You have to consider this thing that Yahweh has married the children of Israel. And when you consider this thing of the wife of your youth, you have to think about that situation. And we were just talking about this last week with David's first wife, Michal. She had nothing but indignation with David. But see, David was a dude tending the sheep who then came up among the ranks. The problem sometimes with the wife of your youth is she's stuck at where she met you at. Now here it is. This man has then grown to another level, but the wife of the youth is stuck where she met him at. Yeshua couldn't do any miracles in Cana of Galilee because they like, hey man, don't we know you? Ain't you that dude? What's your name there? He said he couldn't do no more miracles there. They couldn't respect him for the next level that Yahweh had brought him. So he had to go away from there. And that's something that we have to make sure that we don't get caught into. Because we all works in progress. We don't really know ultimately what Yahweh has for us. So we need to make sure that we don't get stuck in some gear. I was completely fine being the dude over the media department under my elder. That apparently was not where I was supposed to be. But do understand, when he changed it, oh, I was kicking and screaming and whining, just like, hey, why they won't give my job? I'm praying every night. Yahweh like, la, 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 la. He wouldn't hear not a one prayer. I tried to put prayers, I wrote them down, I can put them in Braille, Jack. I ain't hearing it. Because it wasn't in the plan for him to save me from that. That turmoil helped make me the person that I am now. So some of the stuff that we're trying to get away from is the stuff that is preparing you for the next level that you're supposed to be on. But we get in something for about 5 or 10 minutes and we get content at that level. That ain't why he want to leave you. That's why I start moving around departments and moving around, because people start doing something for a little while and they think, you know, yeah, this I'm the only one gonna do this right here. So I gotta put somebody there. So he like, I'm like, no, nobody touch the candles. All right, I'm the candle man up in here. You know what I'm saying? I'm the candle maker. You know, nobody like no candles but Eli. Check yourself. See, so I got to move around people. I got to let somebody else read. So kids don't jump on the next dude, pick up the book. You know what I'm saying? Somebody else pick up the book and kids just shoot him a bow. I mean, bro, why you bow that man? Because he picked up my book. But that's not your book. You know? I got to move the front man from the door. So he don't jump on everybody that sit at the front. Hey, bro, look here. That is not your personal seat here. Okay? So we got to move around some things. Because we like to get stuck in stuff. And Yahweh is trying to make you way around it. But you stuck doing one thing. You want to be a one-trick pony. He don't need no one-trick ponies. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 19. Let her be as the loving hind and pleasant robe. Let her breast satisfy you at all times, and be you ravished always with her love.
How you not get the love in that? Let her breast satisfy you at all times, and be you ravished always with her love. Man, it's a love story. Now, there's some people, some Christian people who ticked off. I know he ain't up there behind that all talking about no breast. I cannot believe this priest right here. How you watch him? And they're talking about some breasts on the Sabbath day. Oh my goodness. Right. Go ahead, bro.
And why will you, my son, be ravished with a strange woman and embrace the bosom of a stranger?
Because the bosom of a stranger, the grass always look green on the other side until you find out it's astroturf. Go ahead.
For the ways of a man are before the eyes of Yahweh, and he ponders all his goings. His own lawlessness shall take the wicked himself, and he shall be holden with the cords of his sins. He shall die without instruction, and in the greatness of his folly he shall go astray.
Without instruction, we shall all die if we decide to go in that route. Let's go to our Exodus chapter 24. See, the strange woman wouldn't read certain parts of that so that they can appear, for they being ignorant of Elohim's righteousness and have gone about to establish their own. So then when we turn around and read those things, they say something wrong with us. But wait a minute, we got the same book you have. But rather than deal with the doctrine of the strange woman, they'll just say something wrong with us because we reading it. But they got it in their book too, but they won't read it. Exodus chapter 24, and let's read verses 1 through 8.
And he said unto Moshe, Come up unto Yahweh, you and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel, and worship you afar off. And Moshe alone shall come near Yahweh. But they shall not come near, neither shall the people go up with him. And Moshe came and told the people all the words of Yahweh, and all the judgments, and all the people answered with one voice, and said, All the words which Yahweh have said will we do.
So now there's a intermediary in between Yahweh and the people have said, I do. They have agreed to the wedding vows. All the words which Yahweh have said will we do. Here is the real wife of thy youth. See, we have then agreed to these wedding vows, which there are stipulations in those things, and we have agreed to them. Go ahead.
And Moshe wrote all the words of Yahweh, and rose up early in the morning, and built an altar under the hill, and 12 pillars, according to the 12 tribes of Israel. And he sent young men of the children of Israel, which offered burnt offerings, and sacrificed peace offerings of oxen unto Yahweh. And Moshe took half of the blood, and put it in basins, and half of the blood he sprinkled on the altar. And he took the book of the covenant, and read in the audience of the people. And they said, all that Yahweh had said will we do, and be obedient.
Right. Once again, we've said I do, and we will be obedient. Nowadays, they've taken that term obedient out of wedding vows. Because they, the church and the church allowed them to do it. Take that obedient out. We don't like that word. And now, of course, there are more divorces than there have ever been. And we making our own decisions. That's why I keep telling people, you make all your own decisions. How that working out for you? We got more divorces now than we've ever had. Go ahead.
And Moshe took the blood and sprinkled it on the people, and said, behold the blood of the covenant which Yahweh has made with you concerning all these words. Then went up Moshe and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel.
All right, let's go to Jeremiah chapter 3. So Israel has agreed to the things of the covenant. We have agreed to be in this relationship with Yahweh, and Yahweh has chosen us among all the families of the earth. Understand what he says. He says, you only have I known out of all the families of the earth. The only family represented in heaven is Israel. Even of those that he has called to be amongst him, he hasn't called anybody that wasn't Israel. Jeremiah chapter 3, and let's read verses 1 through 15.
They say, if a man put away his wife, and she go from him, and become another man's, shall he return unto her again?
Now, they say that he said it. They say he said it. He said it's absolute abomination after you have married a woman and she goes from you for you to turn around and take her back again. Go ahead.
Shall not that land be greatly polluted? But you have played the harlot with many lovers. Yet return again to me, says Yahweh.
Right. So every last one of them worship practices that we engaged in was absolutely nothing but adultery and fornication. Go ahead.
Lift up your eyes onto the high places, and see where you have not been lain with. In the ways have you set for them as the Arabian in the wilderness, and you have polluted the land with your whoredoms and with your wickedness. Therefore the showers have been withholden.
So now you're going to have natural things that are happening unto you because of the spiritual things that you've done. Our problem is we don't like to make the correlation. I don't know why this keep happening to me. I don't know why such and such is happening. Yes, you do. Sit down. Stop trying to act like you don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. Everybody, why? Oh my goodness. No. You don't want to know why. You know why. Go ahead, bro.
And there has been no latter rain, and you have a whore's forehead. You refuse to be ashamed.
A whore's forehead is covered. So she don't have to be ashamed because you can't see her. Now her face anyway. Go ahead.
Will you not from this time cry unto me, my father, you art the guide of my youth? Will he reserve his anger forever? Will he keep it to the end? Behold, you have spoken and done evil things as you could.
As you could. See, just because you can do something don't mean you're supposed to. Go ahead.
Yahweh said also unto me in the days of Uzziah the king, have you seen that which backsliding Israel has done? She is gone up upon every high mountain and under every green tree, and there has played the harlot.
Right. We used to sit our presents under the green tree, and then we get on our knees and get the present out from up under that green tree. Some people say, well, I ain't never worshiped no tree. Yes, you did. With all them gifts in that room, there were certain ones that was up under that tree that your mama said you couldn't open until she got up. You stay up to midnight waiting. Is it Christmas yet? Is it Christmas yet? Is it Christmas yet? And you run in there and go and get everything. But you couldn't unwrap a couple of those. You had to wait. She had to see you get on your knees and go get that out from up under that tree. Go ahead.
And I said after she had done all these things, turn you on to me. But she returned not, and her treacherous sister Yehuda saw it.
So then he's then trying to reconcile with his wife. See, the things that we read about Leah and Rachel were really about Judah and Israel. But with people not understanding that, they just think that it's a bunch of problems about a multiple marriage. No, that was prophecy about Israel. Go ahead.
And I saw, when for all the causes whereby backsliding Israel committed adultery, I had put her away, and given her a bill of divorce. Yet her treacherous sister Yehuda feared not, but went and played the harlot also. And it came to pass through the lightness of her whoredom, that she defiled the land, and committed adultery with stones and with stocks.
Right. We know the stone is Islam, because they worship the asteroid that fell from heaven. And the stock is a piece of wood, and we know that is Christianity. Their symbol is the cross. And those two religions have completely enveloped the children of Israel. Go ahead.
And yet for all this, her treacherous sister Yehuda has not turned unto me with her whole heart, but feignedly, says Yahweh.
Right. Yahweh don't want no half love. He said, she's turned unto me feignedly. He said, that ain't real. I don't want that. Go ahead.
And Yahweh said unto me, the backsliding Israel has justified herself more than treacherous Yehuda. Go and proclaim these words toward the north, and say, return, you backsliding Israel, says Yahweh, and I will not cause mine anger to fall upon you. For I am merciful, says Yahweh, and I will not keep anger forever.
I will not keep anger forever. So even though he says, all right, I'm going to give her a bill of divorce, and I'm going to set her away, he says, I'm not going to keep anger forever. So his divorce is not like our divorce then. See, he's just going to separate himself from the children of Israel. See, even when you love somebody, sometimes there have to be some tough love, or you're not really exercising love. Although Yahweh loves the children of Israel, he's not going to turn around and let his wife walk all over him just to have peace. That ain't what peace is. Not me just letting you walk all over me. Go ahead.
You know, you get a better understanding why he says Dawid was a man of his own heart. Because with those 10 concubines, Dawid didn't divorce them.
He sure didn't. And he couldn't go in onto them anymore, because it's wicked for a man and his son to go in unto the same woman. So when his son went unto them 10 concubines, Dawid still had to feed and provide for them women for the rest of their lives, and he was not able to touch them. Now you talking about something that don't nothing tick a brother off more than having to pay for something that he can't touch. Woo! Boy, every time one of them brothers got to write one of them alimony checks, boy, he be like, what you saying? I can't say what I'm saying. Right. Oh, nothing upset a brother more than having to pay for something that he can't touch. See, that's what mess up some of them brothers' head, why they don't take care of their children after they break up with the woman. See, because there's this one part of us that's in the street, then there's this other part of us that's inside of us that we can't explain, that brothers don't want to acknowledge that they are still connected to this woman. And the only way for them to really get that connection away is to just turn around and leave and have no connection. The problem is, hey, you got a child over there. So now you're going to not take care of your child because you upset with the connection that you've lost with her, with their mama? That ain't going to work. Go ahead.
Jeremiah chapter 3 and verse 13. Only acknowledge your lawlessness, that you have transgressed against Yahweh your Elohim.
And that's what we can't do. We are not good at acknowledgement. Go ahead.
And have scattered your ways to the strangers under every green tree, and you have not obeyed my voice, says Yahweh. Turn, O backsliding children, says Yahweh, for I am married unto you, and I'll take you one of a city and two of a family, and will bring you to Zion.
I am married unto you, but I still ain't going to bring everybody because all y'all ain't worth bringing. But I'll bring that remnant, and then we're going to rebuild into a humongous family. Go ahead.
And even though we read a couple verses up, that he gave her a bill of divorce, he's still saying, I'm married
unto you. But what does he say? What does the law say? A woman is bound to her husband as long as he lives. He said, I ain't that. See, that's why we needed that the tokens of our virginity, that baptism. Because we well know some of us had married all over the place. Go ahead.
And I'll give you pastors according to mine heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding.
Right. I will give you pastors according to mine heart, and they will feed you with the things that I need for you to hear, not the things that you want to hear. See, that's the difference with that strange woman. That strange woman gonna say everything that she think you want to hear. And the pastors and teachers of Yahweh gonna say the things that you need to hear. Now, whether or not you deal with them, that's still up to you. Hosea chapter 4.
9:23.
Everybody still have their own will where they can deal with something or they can, decide not to deal with it. The pastors and teachers are just going to have to answer, did you tell them? Yep. Hosea chapter 4, and we're going to read verses 1 through 14.
Verse 1. Hear the word of Yahweh, you children of Israel. For Yahweh has a controversy with the inhabitants of the land, because there is no truth, nor mercy, nor acknowledgement of Elohim in the land. By swearing and lying and killing and stealing and committing adultery, they break out and blood touches blood.
And we look at those things like they're trivial because they're regular things being done in the daughter of Babylon. Swearing and lying and killing and stealing. You turn on the TV and all you hear, somebody else got killed. Somebody else stealing something. And we look at those things and we don't even think lying is supposed to be in there. But then when you look in Revelation, it says all whoremongers and all liars shall have their part in the lake of fire that burns with fire and brimstone. And you sitting there like liars going to be in the same place with killers? And people lie here for no reason at all. We taught that in the daughter of Babylon. Just lie. Ain't getting nothing out of the lie. What you tell that lie for? What you going to get out of that? It's just lie just because. It just roll off like silk. Just roll off the tongue. What was the purpose of that? Did you make any money out that lie? It's just talk lies for no reason at all. Putting ourselves closer and closer to that lake of fire. But that's that thing of accepting the culture of other people. When me and Kish was up in that jail and he ended up reading something and it said all liars, the white Catholic lady looked like she got upset with Kish. Wait a minute now. You don't really mean all lives. Well, what about the little white ones? Oh, okay. So you got little white line and you got them big old black ones. You know what I'm saying? Apparently the big black lines is what get you into the lake of fire. But the little bitty white ones, those are okay. Yeah. Kids had to tell her all lies. She was like, well, I never. Yeah, and you never will. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 3. Therefore shall the land mourn, and everyone that dwells therein shall languish, with the beasts of the field, and with the fowls of heaven. Yes, the fishes of the sea also shall be taken away. Yet let no man strive, nor reprove another, for your people are as they that strive with the priests. Therefore shall you fall in the day, and the prophet also shall fall with you in the night, and I'll destroy your mother. My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Because you have rejected knowledge, I will also reject you.
But understand, naturally, we're the most educated people around. We have way more education than our forefathers. We got degrees upon degrees upon degrees. We get out of one school and go to another school and get out of that school and go to another school. We got all kind of education, yet we are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. We're getting the wrong kind of knowledge. Go ahead.
That you shall not be priests to me, seeing you have forgotten the law of your Elohim. I will also forget your children. As they were increased, so they sinned against me.
Right. When you look back at our people, the less we had, the more we were together as a community. The more we end up getting, the worse off we became as people. We used to know one another. We used to deal with our neighbors and would even check on the neighbors, see if those people had, food. There were times my mother fed the people across the street, and I didn't know that them folks hadn't ate. But it was certain things that people who have experience notice. And she was watching how the little boys across the street was moving. And I was like, what you looking at them little boys for? She like, shut up, boy. What you doing? See, this is how you learn stuff. See? And she watching them. Next thing I know, she go over there and invite the little boy. Won't you come over here? I made some food. Won't you sit down? And at first, that pride. Well, no, we okay. No, we all right. You sure? One of the dudes ate like a plate and a half. I was like, man, what's wrong with that cat? He ain't got no bottom to his stomach. That cat hadn't ate, I don't know how long. Now, I don't know how she know. She was watching them and noticed, I don't think them little boys eat, because they just stayed with their daddy. I don't know whatever. And the daddy had some strange things going on. See, I keep telling people, Yahweh created a family that is supposed to be a man and a woman into the upbringing of children. You take out one of those things, people think, okay, well, we've been raised with single parent houses and we've been all right. Just because you're living don't mean you're all right. That don't mean you're all right. See? And we keep thinking that, well, we turned out all right. Now you turned out still breathing. But Yahweh made it to where they were supposed to be a man and a woman raising those children. You take out one of those variables and there's going to be some issues. Now, it may not be apparent at the first look at that child. What y'all think some of the problems we carrying on now? Some of the things that we still dealing with, that's that childhood stuff that we ain't dealt with. That you keep thinking, well, I turned out all right. Sure you did. Go ahead.
Therefore will I change their glory into shame. Verse 8. They eat up the sin of my people, and they set their heart on their lawlessness. And there shall be, like people, like priests, and I'll punish them for their ways and reward them their doings. For they shall eat and not have enough. They shall commit whoredom and shall not increase, because they have left off to take heed to Yahweh.
Right. We put Yahweh on the back burner and we go get everything that we want to eat. Everything that we want to do. Everything that we want to have. It ain't never going to be enough. We get this car. Oh, man, I'm going to be satisfied when I get this car. Boy, 3 months later, we want another. I'm going to be satisfied when I get this job right here. We want another. Oh, when I get this house right here, this is the house of all houses. Now we want another. Right. because you left off to take heed to Yahweh, you will never be pleased in the stuff because Yahweh not in it. So whatever it is you get, you still ain't going to be pleased with it. But see, we keep trying to convince ourselves, I'm going to be happy then when I do this. Right? And you're going to be right back the way you was before. Like a rat running around in that little circle, and you're never going to catch yourself. Because Yahweh not in it. You put Yahweh in it, then you can stop chasing everything. Go ahead.
Verse 11. Whoredom and wine and new wine take away the heart. My people ask counsel at their stocks, and their staff declares unto them. For the spirit of whoredoms has caused them to err, and they have gone a whoring from under their Elohim. They sacrifice upon the tops of the mountains, and burn incense upon the hills, under oaks and poplars and elms, because the shadow thereof is good. Therefore your daughters shall commit whoredom, and your spouses shall commit adultery.
So now, since you have allowed all of these strange worship things, I'm going to show you what they mean to me. Since you have allowed fornication and adultery to happen with me, I'm going to let it happen in your house then. Go ahead.
I will not punish your daughters when they commit whoredom, nor your spouses when they commit adultery. For themselves are separated with whores, and they sacrifice with harlots. Therefore the people that does not understand shall fall.
Let's back up and let's see how some of this started. Hosea chapter 1, and let's read verses 1 through 3. See, a lot of times we go through things, and everything that we go through is not necessarily about us.
Hosea chapter 1 and verse 1. The word of Yahweh that came on to Hosea, the son of Beri, in the days of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Yehudah, and in the days of Jeroboam, the son of Joash, king of Israel. The beginning of the word of Yahweh by Hosea. And Yahweh said to Hosea, Go, take unto you a wife of whoredoms and children of whoredoms. For the land has committed great whoredom, departing from Yahweh.
Now, he just gave you a law of divorce. And he said, if you married a woman and you find out she's not a virgin, then you got a right to divorce. Now, he's telling the leader of Israel, this is a man who he's going to have do prophetic work. And he said, go marry that whore. What? Yeah, go marry a whore. But this ain't about him. This is about the children of Israel. But see, we want to be servants, but we want to pick the way we going to serve. Yeah, I tried that. It don't work out. I can go ahead and tell you that now. You don't get to be a servant and then you get to pick, oh no, this is all I'm going to do right here. All right, keep it up. Go ahead.
So he went and took Gomer, the daughter of Diblaim, which conceived and bare him a son.
Go marry a whore and then get her pregnant. Jump to chapter 3 and read verses 1 through 5.
Then said Yahweh unto me,
He ain't done yet.
Go yet, love a woman beloved of her friend, yet an adulteress, according to the love of Yahweh toward the children of Israel, who looked to other gods, and loved flagons of wine.
So since Israel like to be adulterers, I need you to go marry an adulteress. Wait a minute, you already told me to marry her and have kids by her. Now you want me to go get right. This for Israel now. You my servant, right? See, some of y'all need to be glad in the job that he asked you to do. You ask people, hey, I need you to go over here and do this. Man, I don't feel like doing that. All right. I ain't tell you, hey, go marry a whore. Oh, man, I ain't doing that job, son. Right. So go sweep the floor then, man. What's the problem? It ain't like he asked you to do something difficult. How hard is it to sweep the floor? And we whining about everything. Look at what he had these brothers to go do. Oh, and these ain't no regular brothers. These are respected men of Israel. And he turned around and tell them, go do this. What they had Isaiah go walk naked, right? Man, he asked you to do that. that gonna be to explain to somebody? Hey man, I thought y'all said that was y'all priest. Well, why I seen him naked on County Road then? Hey, that's gonna be a hard conversation now, right now. I just saw your priest on County Road. And y'all know we good in vain, and don't let it be cold. You know, it ain't cold. We don't show good way up in the cold. It's cold and we butt naked. Hey, what's happening here? He ain't have on nothing but a kufi. No, man. Right. Man, he ain't asked you to do nothing difficult. Here it is, we tripping. This is real difficult stuff here. Go ahead.
I'm looking at this. She's an adulteress. She worships strange gods, and she's a wino.
Sound like Sapphire to me. Sound like some sisters I know. What the problem is? What the problem is? Go ahead, bro.
Verse 2. So I bought her to me for 15 pieces of silver, and for an omer of barley, and an half omer of barley.
At least he know what the price is. See, some of us get something and we don't know the price because the price keep changing. Wait a minute now. I thought this was the price. Right. You're going to pay one way or another. Go ahead.
And I said unto her, you shall abide for me many days. You shall not play the harlot, and you shall not be for another man. So will I also be for you. So going and getting these things, you know, this is all about showing the children of Israel what we have done to Yahweh our Elohim. And now other people have to go through these things to try and get Israel's attention. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 29. Jeremiah chapter 29, let's start that at verse 1. Now these are the words of the letter that Jeremiah the prophet sent from Jerusalem unto the residue of the elders which were carried away captives, and to the priests, and to the prophets, and to all the people whom Nebuchadnezzar had carried away captive from Jerusalem to Babylon. After that, Jeconiah the king, and the queen, and the eunuchs, the princes of Yehuda and Jerusalem, and the carpenters and the smiths were departed from Jerusalem, by the hand of Elisha, the son of Shaphan, and Gemariah, the son of Hilkiah, whom Zedekiah, king of Yehuda, sent on to Babylon to Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, saying, Thus said the Yahweh of hosts, the Elohim of Israel, unto all that are carried away captives, whom I have caused to be carried away from Jerusalem unto Babylon. Build you houses and dwell in them, and plant gardens and eat the fruit of them.
In other words, accept the punishment for your doings. But see, we don't want to do that. We try to sidestep the punishment, and we still want to do things while we are enduring the punishment for our own doings. See, the righteous accept the punishment for their deeds. Go ahead.
Take you wives, and beget sons and daughters, and take wives for your sons, and give your daughters to husbands, that you may bear sons and daughters, that you may be increased there and not diminished.
Because even as they're captives among with their own people. It's not like they're spread apart and all of these things. So accept this punishment that I'm giving you, and go in this land and do the things that you need to do. Go ahead.
And seek the peace of the city whither I have caused you to be carried away captives, and pray unto Yahweh for it. For in the peace thereof shall you have peace.
Right. If it ain't no peace in that land and you in it, then you're not going to have peace either. So don't go in the land causing trouble. Then that's going to be trouble unto you. Go ahead.
For thus said the Yahweh of hosts, the Elohim of Israel, let not your prophets and your diviners that be in the midst of you deceive you, neither hearken to your dreams which you cause to be dreamed. For they prophesy falsely unto you in my name. I have not sent them.
I have not sent them. And we listen to these pulpit pimps who turn around and give us all of these false dreams of how much God wants you to be rich and all of these things. What is that going to do for us? We think that money is going to answer all of our needs and everything. It was funny. I was listening to a interview that Floyd Mayweather gave, and they asked him about the lady that won the $700 million, and he said it's good for her, but she gonna be back broke if she don't get some understanding on how to deal with that money. He said, I'm not wealthy because I made a lot of money. I'm wealthy because I made good decisions, and people who are not taught about how to make good decisions, they're going to be right back in the same situation. So here it is, we ready to get some kind of reparations, but we ain't been taught nothing about money. What we know about money is how to spend it. So no matter how much money you get, you're going to turn around and spend the money, and you're going to be just as broke as you was before. Without learning how to deal with it, to some of these people, they hit the lotto, and their life is 1,000 times worse than it ever was before. And you're trying to figure out how they get money and end up worse off. You have to learn how to deal with wealth. And see, we still have that Babylonian mindset on us, and we're still trying to get certain things, and Yahweh is trying to give those things to us once we finish this punishment. We're trying to get everything in the process of the punishment. Go ahead, bro.
Saith Yahweh, verse 10. For thus said Yahweh, that after 70 years be accomplished in Babylon, I will visit you and perform my good word toward you in causing you to return to this place.
After the 70 years, after you accomplish the punishment that I have put upon you, I'm going to send you back to that land. Go ahead.
For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, says Yahweh, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. Then shall you call upon me, and you shall go and pray unto me, and I will hearken unto you.
Listen, verse 12, then shall you call upon me, and you shall go and pray unto me, and I will hearken unto you. So in other words, while you still going through the punishment, it ain't but so much I'm going to hear of you. I'm not hearing you. See, because your sin has separated you from me, that I can't hear you in that stage. But once you finish out and humble yourself and take the punishment, then you shall pray to me and I'll hear you. Go ahead.
And you shall seek me and find me when you shall search for me with all your heart.
When you search, now, you could have searched with all your heart before, but you still weren't going to find it. Go ahead.
And I'll be found of you, says Yahweh, and I'll turn away your captivity, and I'll gather you from all the nations and from all the places whither I have driven you, says Yahweh, and I will bring you again into the place whence I caused you to be carried away captive.
So once again, the ultimate place of redemption for the children of Israel is Jerusalem. But see, that strange woman gave us that pie in the sky. That strange woman told us that we were going to go to heaven. So instead of trying to return to the land from whence we came, we want to just float off in the sky. See, I told that strange woman her words are smooth as oil. Go ahead.
Because you have said, Yahweh has raised us up prophets in Babylon. Know that thus said Yahweh of the king that sits upon the throne of Dawid, and of all the people that dwell in this city, and of your brethren that are not gone forth with you into captivity. Thus said Yahweh of hosts, Behold, I will send upon them the sword, the famine, and the pestilence, and will make them like vile figs that cannot be eaten. They are so evil. And I'll persecute them with the sword, with the famine, and with pestilence, and will deliver them to be removed to all the kingdoms of the earth, and to be a curse, and an astonishment, and an hissing, and a reproach among all the nations whither I have driven them. Because they have not hearkened to my words, says Yahweh, which I sent unto them by my servants the prophets, rising up early and sending them, but you would not hear, says Yahweh.
Right, because what we want to hear is the words of the false prophets. Because we want to hear that strange woman, because all her words are smooth. See? We want to hear the words of that strange woman, because she says nothing but nice things. Go ahead.
Verse 20. Hear you therefore the word of Yahweh, all you of the captivity, whom I have sent from Jerusalem to Babylon. Thus said the Yahweh of hosts, the Elohim of Israel, of Ahab the son of Kaliah, and of Zedekiah the son of Messiah, which prophesy a lie unto you in my name. Behold, I will deliver them into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and he shall slay them before your eyes.
Right. We want to hear that strange doctrine where those people get up and say, I talked to the Lord last night, and he said such and such and such and such. And everything is nothing but niceties. Go ahead.
And of them shall be taken up a curse by all the captivity of Yehudah, which are in Babylon, saying, Yahweh make you like Zedekiah and like Ahab, whom the king of Babylon roasted in the fire, because they have committed villainy in Israel, and have committed adultery with their neighbors' wives, and have spoken lying words in my name, which I have not commanded them. Even I know and am a witness, says Yahweh. Thus shall you also speak to Shemaiah the Nehelatite, saying, Thus speaketh Yahweh of hosts, the Elohim of Israel, saying, Because you have sent letters in my name unto all the people that are at Jerusalem, and to Zephaniah the son of Messiah, the priest, and to all the priests, saying, Yahweh has made you priest in the stead of Jehoiada the priest, that you should be officers in the house of Yahweh, for every man that is mad and makes himself a prophet, that you should put him in prison and in the stocks. Now therefore, why have you not reproved Jeremiah of Anathoth, which makes himself a prophet to you? For therefore he sent unto us in Babylon, saying, This captivity is long. Build you houses and dwell in them.
Right, because they didn't want to hear that. They want to hear that, look, this is going to be real quick. We ain't going to be here long. This tell us absolute nothing but niceness. So they got a problem with the people who speak the truth, because the truth too harsh for them. But I'd rather hear something harsh now than to sit up there and be fed strawberries and powdered sugar only to get thrown in the lake of fire. Give me my harshness now. Go ahead.
And plant vineyards and eat the fruit of them. And Zephaniah the priest read this letter in the ears of Jeremiah the prophet. Then came the word of Yahweh unto Jeremiah, saying, Send to all them of the captivity, saying, Thus said Yahweh concerning Shemaiah the Nehelatite, because that Shemaiah has prophesied unto you, and I sent him not, and he caused you to trust in a lie.
He caused you to trust in a lie. That strange doctrine that we hear has caused us to believe in lying words. Go ahead.
Therefore thus said Yahweh, Behold, I will punish Shemaiah the Nehelamite and his seed.
Now, this is how we cause problems on our whole lineage, doing mess. I will punish Shemaiah the Nehelamite and his seed. See, we rough and tough until we realize that, hey, you realize that some of your doing is going to fall on your kids. Now, that's just selfishness right there. That you're so concerned with yourself that you don't consider the hell that you're leaving behind you that other people going to have to deal with. Go ahead.
He shall not have a man to dwell among this people, neither shall he behold the good that I will do for my people, says Yahweh, because he has taught rebellion against Yahweh.
Because he has taught rebellion. And that, when you get right down to it, that is what's being taught here in Israel. Not just among the strange things that we hear on Sunday morning. We got strange people on Saturday morning teaching strange doctrine too. They teaching rebellion. They teaching not to baptize. Teaching anybody is a prophet. Anybody who read is a prophet. All kind of manner of strange doctrine. We just went over the other day the new moon and all the signs that were going to be happening, in the heaven. You got Israelites, these brothers done taught that the full moon is the new moon. That would make the eclipse impossible. That couldn't happen on the purple people here to watch. Because the only time you're going to have an eclipse is a new moon. You can't have no eclipse on the full moon. So according to them, I don't know what they did. They just went out and hollered at people and just said it didn't happen. I don't know what they did. But it don't make sense. It makes absolutely no sense. So we have that strange woman is in many forms. See, a lot of times we just see that strange woman in one form. Oh, no. The strange woman got different clothes. She got different clothes and she'll change them. Isaiah chapter 30. See, the adversary don't care how he get us. His end result is to just get us. Because by defiling us, he gets to turn Yahweh into a lie. And that's what his ultimate goal is. Just like he went through the woman to get to the man. He was never really after the woman. It was the man that he wanted. So when you get right down to it, the adversary, the devil, is after us, but it's really about his issue with Yahweh. It's not necessarily with us, but because we have been made to be the representatives for the Elohim of Israel, he gets to Yahweh by dealing with us. And hey, we're a much easier fight than trying to fight Yahweh. Isaiah chapter 30, and let's read verses 1 through 7.
Woe to the rebellious children, says Yahweh, that make counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin, that walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt.
Right. See, we don't want to fully go through the things that we're supposed to go through, so we want to go and get some help elsewhere. See? So we're going to go down into Egypt. Now consider something. Multiple times we have been told by Yahweh to go into Egypt. But you know us, we like Hebrew vampires. All you got to do is let us do it one time and we think we forever got, free reign to go in. See, you realize that when the children ask you one time, hey, can I get some of those cookies? And you be like, all right, you get these cookies. You get you 2 of these cookies. You come back, it ain't but 2 of the cookies. Hey, wait a minute. Wait a minute. You asked me for cookies one time. Yeah, but since you let me go in that one time, I just figured upon myself that I had an open invitation to your cookie box. That is not what I said. See? All you got to do is let us do it one time, and we think we can just keep going. That Hebrew vampire thing kicks in. So Yahweh done let us go down to Egypt to escape some things several times. So now every time we get to something we don't like, we take it off running to go get some help from Egypt. Go ahead.
Verse 3. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. For his princes were at Zoan, and his ambassadors came to Hanes. They were all ashamed of a people that could not profit them, nor be an help nor profit, but a shame and also a reproach. The burden of the beast of the south, into the land of trouble and anguish, from whence come the young and old lion, the viper and fiery flying serpent. They will carry their riches upon the shoulders of young asses, and their treasures upon the bunches of camels, to a people that shall not profit them.
Right. You're going to do all of that stuff, and it still is not going to profit you. Go ahead.
For the Egyptians shall help in vain, and to no purpose. Therefore have I cried concerning this. Their strength is to sit still.
Their strength is to sit still. And we can't sit still. We can't sit still for 15 seconds. Soon as something happens, we take off. I'm out, Jack. Sit still. And the whole thing is, we don't even get to fully see what Yahweh is doing because we don't sit still long enough. You taking out running to the left, you do know the problem is headed to the left. You do know you're running right into the problem, right? You know you're running deeper into the problem. You know if you just sit still, you can start to watch and see what it's doing. Oh, I just need to take 2 steps to the right. But if you go to running all around, you're doing so much, you're making more problems for yourself. He says their power is to just sit still. And there's that inner thing in us that just makes us move, or so we think. Let's go to Amos chapter 9. Amos chapter 9, and let's read verses 1 through 15. Good.
Amos chapter 9 and verse 1. I saw the Adonai standing upon the altar, and he said, smite the lintel of the door, that the posts may shake, and cut them in the head, all of them, and I will slay the last of them with the sword. He that flees of them shall not flee away, and he that escapes of them shall not be delivered. Though they dig into hell, then shall mine hand take them. Though they climb up to heaven, thence will I bring them down. And though they hide themselves in the top of Carmel, I will search and take them out thence.
Right. It don't matter where you go. You're not going to be able to hide from the things that Yahweh has already said is going to deal with the children of Israel. Go ahead.
And though they be hid from my sight in the bottom of the sea, thence will I command the serpent, and he shall bite them. And though they go into captivity before their enemies, thence will I command the sword, and it shall slay them. And I will set mine eyes upon them for evil and not for good. And the Adonai Elohim of hosts is he that touches the land, and it shall melt, and all that dwell therein shall mourn. And it shall rise up wholly like a flood, and shall be drowned, as by the flood of Egypt. It is he that builds his stories in the heaven, and he that founded his troop in the earth. He that calls for the waters of the sea, and pours them out upon the face of the earth. Yahweh is his name. Are you not as children of the Ethiopians unto me, O children of Israel? Says Yahweh, have not I brought Israel out of the land of Egypt, and the Philistines from Caphtor, and the Syrians from Ker? Behold, the eyes of the Adonai Elohim are upon the sinful kingdom, and I'll destroy it from off the face of the earth, saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, says Yahweh. For, lo, I will command, and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations, like as corn is sifted in a sieve. Yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth.
Right. So Israel is going to be spread out amongst these nations for a reason. Because, of course, if too many of us were put in one place, then, of course, we're going to take over that place. This is why you have the anniversary of the running with the bulls. So then people celebrate running us out of their country. And they will not teach us of any of that stuff in school. Them people dress up in fake afros and blackface, and then running with the bulls is symbolizing running the black bulls out of their country. And none of them, of our so-called educators, are allowed to teach that. And how you mistake some dude in blackface? Like, hey man, is that a white dude with black makeup on? With a fake afro? What kind of mess is this? But right after they ran our folks out of Spain, then you have this slavery immediately following. But they won't teach any correlation with that. And they are directly related. Go ahead.
Verse 10. All the sinners of my people shall die by the sword, which say, the evil shall not overtake nor prevent us. In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and will close up the breaches thereof, and I'll raise up his ruins, and I'll build it as in the days of old, that they may possess the remnant of Edom, and of all the heathen, which are called by my name, says Yahweh that does this.
All right, I need you to back up and pay attention to verse 12.
That they may possess the remnant of Edom.
All right, the Edomites, the people who call themselves Israel. Go ahead.
And of all the heathen.
Now, of all the heathen, hold on. Go ahead.
Which are called by my name.
Wait a minute. All the people who pretend to be you gonna own them. That's what they get for pretending to be you. Go ahead.
Says Yahweh that does this. Verse 13.
Right, there it is. You pretend. Remember that dude during the time of King David? That something had happened. Who was it? Saul, and he acted like he had killed him. And then they killed him for pretending he killed him, but he really didn't kill him. Well, that's what you get for acting stupid then. There it is. Go ahead.
Behold, the days come, says Yahweh, that the plowman shall overtake the reaper, and the treader of the grapes, him that sows seed, and the mountains shall drop sweet wine, and all the hills shall melt.
Now, you got to consider something, how deep this goes now. You got the Ish who pretending to be you. Now, that's just one tribe, right? Now, the people of Britain and America said that they are Beta Israel, because they've put these other people in the land and said that they are the Jews. When you watch all the other televangelists, they said, well, we are the rest of Israel, and the Jewish are Judah. So now you got all the Euro-Gentiles of Britain and America claiming to be the rest of the tribes of Israel. Now back up and understand what it says. All of the heathen that are called by my name, you're going to possess them. Right. Go keep your pretending on. Keep your pretending. Go ahead.
Verse 14. I will bring again the captivity of my people of Israel, and they shall build away cities and inhabit them. And they shall plant vineyards and drink the wine thereof. They shall also make gardens and eat the fruit of them.
Right. Now, this is on top of the stuff that we're going to inherit when we already go in there. See? That's why I tell people trying to do all of these things and stuff like that, you're going to inherit houses you didn't build. Go ahead.
And I'll plant them upon their land, and they shall no more be pulled up out of their land which I have given them, says the Adonai Yahweh.
All right, let's go to Exodus chapter 12. Start this at verse 29. Exodus chapter 12, and let's start that at verse 29.
And it came to pass that at midnight Yahweh smote all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sat upon his throne unto the firstborn of the captive that was in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of cattle.
So once the heathen starts to suffer loss, they are ready to get rid of Israel. Right now, everybody's talking about our issues. You turn on Georgia Public Television, and it ain't nothing but black documentaries about things that we've gone through. They ain't been playing that stuff before. Now, we the topic of discussion. But when they start suffering loss, they're going to be ready to get rid of us. Go ahead.
And Pharaoh rose up in the night, he and all his servants, and all the Egyptians. And there was a great cry in Egypt, for there was not a house where there was not one dead. And he called for Moshe and Aaron by night, and said, Rise up, and get you forth from among my people, both you and the children of Israel, and go, serve Yahweh, as you have said.
First, he done fought everything. Now you can't serve Yahweh. Now you can't. When their children start dying, get up now. Don't even wait till the morning. You need to go right now. Right now. Just leave. Get you, all your people, your cat, your dog, your everything. You got some monkeys. Get them too. You got some goats? Get them too. Get out of here. Go and serve your Yahweh. Just leave. Right. Just wait. America on their way. They on their way. This is the problem that she's built, and it's time for her to deal with it. Go ahead.
Also take your flocks and your herds, as you have said, and be gone, and bless me also.
But bless me on your way out, though. You know, because obviously God with you. You know what I'm saying? Because I thought I was a man God, but surely your God kicked my God tail. So could you bless me too? Right. See, we are being. These other people are being blessed by our presence, whether you know it or not. And see, the people who tried to go ahead and get their reparations now, you know, when they set up that whole thing about going to Liberia, man, them people in the worst, Liberia is one of the worst places in Africa. They decided to set up this place to send our people from here and people who wanted to go to Africa. And all they did was go back to the last place that we came from. That's not our land. And they going through hell to this day, trying to run from that captivity and the punishment. And he said, look, work, build you houses, marry, so that you don't decrease in the land. But you're going to do this time. Go ahead.
You know, interesting, like he just said, no matter where you run, I'm going to get you. And talking about the run of the persecution. Most Def last year ran up. He's been over where in South Africa. And then last year he was trying to come out and they incarcerated him and put him through some stuff. And all I could sit there and say, see, you trying to run from your punishment. Yep. You running over there and Yahweh still getting you over there.
But you know what? He was educated. You know, when we get educated, we think, you know, we know something everybody else don't know. So we got another little trick. And you'll find out with these folks. Hey, bro. They switch up like it ain't nothing. What did it tell you about the strange woman? Her ways are movable. So the way that they constantly make loopholes, they'll make it the thing one way. 30 days later, you go back and do that same thing and end up in jail. These folk, man, even when they pass a law from the beginning, there's a loophole for them. Soon as we figure out the loophole, that loophole move. And you go right back to that hole. Yeah. Hey, man, wait a minute. There's a brick here. Right. They done filled up that loophole over there now. Now anybody who touched this brick going to jail. Right. See? You gonna learn. You don't know the game like them folk. They stay up all night. All night. You don't build nothing this big from thievery to not to just turn around and let them people steal it back. No. The last thing a thief wants you to steal the stuff he done stole. So they stand up all night working that. And every time you figure it out, they're going to change it. And every time we found out them folks have been buying, claiming bankruptcy, and restarting forever. Soon as we figured out, they changed. The president done claimed bankruptcy 13 times. At least. We figured out they changed the whole bankruptcy. Every time we figure out the hustle, they change the hustle. So you have to be careful dealing with these people. Go ahead.
Verse 33. And the Egyptians were urgent upon the people that they might send them out of the land in haste. For they said, we all be dead men. And the people took their dough before it was leavened, their kneading troughs being bound up in their clothes upon their shoulders. And the children of Israel did according to the word of Moshe, and they borrowed of the Egyptians jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment.
Here go your reparations, man. Here go you. But these are tangible items that you can use. We trying to get money. That money ain't going to be worth Scott paper tissue. Okay? You get a whole bunch of money, you just always, you planning on wiping or something? What you going to do with that? That stuff ain't worth nothing. You could have just got a roll toilet tissue if you want to do that. Look here. It says jewels of gold and silver and raiment. These are tangible items you can use. Clothes. silver and gold you can trade for anything. When it came time to build that temple, what do you think they got all that stuff? They said, bring all your silver. What do you think we got it? Oh, all the Egyptian stuff. Now all of a sudden, Yahweh done already gave you money to build stuff you ain't got in the land yet. But we trying to get ours now. And you get it now, you're going to waste it on this side of the water. Then when it comes time, Yahweh say, all right, now I need to take up an offering for everybody to rebuild this temple. Yahweh, well, see, what happened was, see, I spent mine over in Egypt. Oh, yeah. Cast this person out of here. They shall be out of darkness and weeping and gnashing of teeth. Take them out of here. How is it I brought you out of there with all this and you got nothing? Well, I had to get mine early, so I spent it over there. Okay. So you ain't got no offering to help build the things that we're supposed to be building in. Oh, so you got money instead of tangible things like gold and silver. See, gold and silver can be traded in any land, in any country, at any time. This money is only good because they have used it to purchase oil. And believe you me, Russia and all them other countries are on their way to change that. They are on their way to making that a thing of the past. And when it is completely downhill after that. Go ahead.
Verse 36. And Yahweh gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, so that they lent unto them such things as they required, and they spoiled the Egyptians.
Right. And as Yahweh has done then, he is going to do the same thing again. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 54. See, the whole part about dealing with those things is Yahweh has us. But you got to know that Yahweh got you. When you don't, then you're going to try to do something yourself. See? When you don't believe Yahweh got you, you think you got you. And there ain't but so much you can do with your little hand. Isaiah 54, and let's read verses 4 through 8.
Fear not, for you shall not be ashamed, neither be you confounded, for you shall not be put to shame. For you shall forget the shame of your youth, and shall not remember the reproach of your widowhood anymore.
So, yeah, you're going to go through some things, but Yahweh is destined to have his wife back. But he's not going to just take his wife back just to be taking her back. It's some things that she got to fix. Go ahead.
For your maker is your husband. Yahweh of hosts is his name.
He said, I'm married unto you. He says, I don't truly believe in divorce. Now I'm going to set you aside because you ain't going to act any old kind of way in my house. I ain't just going to sit there and just deal with it just because, you know, Yahweh said we married, so you got to deal with this crap. No, that ain't going to happen. No, you're going to get your act together, and then we're going to keep on going on this way that we have vowed to go. But Yahweh had to separate himself from his wife. As much as he loved the children of Israel, he wasn't going to keep taking that mess. Go ahead.
And your Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel, the Elohim of the whole earth, shall he be called. For Yahweh has called you as a woman forsaken and grieved in spirit, and a wife of youth.
The wife of youth. He said, don't despise the wife of your youth, but the wife of your youth has a certain level of respect for you. Well, she's got to grow in that level of respect. Go ahead.
When you was refused, said your Elohim, for a small moment have I forsaken you.
For a small moment, Israel, have I forsaken you. Go ahead.
But with great mercies will I gather you. In a little anger I hid my face from you for a moment, but with everlasting kindness will I have mercy on you, says Yahweh, your Redeemer.
Right. So it is not Yahweh's intent to consistently be apart from Israel. Let's go to chapter 49, Isaiah chapter 49.
And you can understand why they try to give us that thought process that Israel's been cut off. So you think that think, well, you don't have no chance, knowing that, no, Yahweh gonna bring you back in, but we need you to think that you cut off. He ain't got nothing to do with you no more.
Well, your adversary, the imposter, needs you to believe that. The other people who are trying to take your place need you to believe that. So while they're telling you Israel is cut off, check this out. They all trying to be Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if that ain't the adversary, I don't know what is. So he tell you, oh, look, you ain't got to keep none of them holy days. Then he show up, yeah, Yahweh, I came to make my appearance. Wait a minute. Wasn't that you that taught us we wasn't supposed to be making no appearance? But he up there making him. Yeah, I got a list of names of all the people who didn't show up. What? You told them not to show up. Right, right. Isaiah chapter 49, and let's start that at verse 8.
Thus said Yahweh, in an acceptable time have I heard you, and in a day of salvation have I helped you. And I will preserve you, and give you for a covenant of the people to establish the earth, to cause to inherit the desolate heritages. That you may say to the prisoners, go forth. To them that are in darkness, show yourselves. They shall feed in the ways, and their pastures shall be in all high places. They shall not hunger nor thirst, neither shall the heat nor sun smite them. For he that has mercy on them shall lead them, even by the springs of water shall he guide them. And I'll make all my mountains a way, and my highways shall be exalted. Behold, these shall come from far, and lo, these from the north and from the west, and these from the land of Shinim. Sing, O heavens, and be you joyful, O earth, and break forth into singing, O mountains. For Yahweh hath comforted his people, and will have mercy upon his afflicted. But Zion said, Yahweh has forsaken me, and my Adonai has forgotten me.
Right, in that time of punishment, now we actually believe what the people have said, that Yahweh have cast your people off. Go ahead.
Can a woman forget her sucking child, that she should not have compassion on the son of her womb? Yes, they may forget, yet will I never forget you.
I will not forget you, Israel. Go ahead.
Behold, I have graven you upon the palms of my hands. Your walls are continually before me.
Your walls are continually before me. I can never forget you. See, Yahweh don't just cast off his covenants like man does. But see, we got to that point where we know Yahweh done made a covenant with us, so we can act in the old kind of way. Yahweh's no. That ain't gonna work. Go ahead.
Your children shall make haste. Your destroyers and they that made you waste shall go forth of you. Lift up your eyes round about, and behold, all these gather themselves together, and come to you. As I live, says Yahweh, you shall surely clothe you with them all, as with an ornament, and bind them on you as a bride does. For your waste and your desolate places, and the land of your destruction, shall even now be too narrow by reason of the inhabitants, and they that swallowed you up shall be far away. The children which you shall have, after you have lost the other, shall say again in your ears, the place is too strait for me. Give place to me that I may dwell.
So the children of Israel are going to multiply. Go ahead.
Then shall you say in your heart, who has begotten these?
Where I get these children from? Go ahead.
Seeing I have lost my children, and am now desolate, a captive, and removing to and fro. And who has brought up these? Behold, I was left alone. These, where had they been?
Right. So when you talk about how Yahweh is going to restore the children of Israel, there are some things that we can't even quite understand. How we gonna get back children that we have lost, and people gonna say, well, where did kid come from? But see, there's things of how we look at things versus how Yahweh deals with things. You have to consider something. When you talk about the time of Job and how he lost all of them kids, then turn around and Yahweh gave him all that stuff back. See, our little fleshly mind can't process that. Because see, we so busy trying to get back our own stuff on our own time, and Yahweh got you. Like I said, when you don't believe Yahweh got you, you think you got yourself. And you're going to cause yourself some issues. Let's go to Joshua chapter 24. Joshua chapter 24, and let's read verses 12 through 15.
Verse 12. And I sent the hornet before you, which drave them out from before you.
So when you do what you're supposed to do, then Yahweh sends a hornet before you to drive out your enemies. You don't do what you're supposed to do, then the hornet behind you driving you out. Go ahead.
Even the 2 kings of the Amorites. But not with your sword, nor
with thy bow. So it's not going to be done through the power of your own hands. See? It's not about what you can physically do with your hand. Remember, when the children of Israel did some foolishness and the angel walked away from them, they weren't able to win those same fights. It wasn't, you know, it was a little town. They were supposed to go up and slap them people up. Pow, pow, be done. Went up there and 30-something people got killed. And I'm like, why are we done? Oh, because the angel of Yahweh left you. See? Go ahead.
And I have given you a land for which you did not labor, and cities which you built not. And you dwell in them.
Now, Yahweh doing the same thing. The same thing. He does the same thing over and over. And I've given you a land for which you did not labor. So you labor on this side. You receive on this side. Go ahead.
Of the vineyards and olive yards which you planted not, do you eat. Now therefore fear Yahweh, and serve him in sincerity and in truth.
Serve Yahweh in sincerity and in truth. Go ahead.
And put away the gods which your fathers served on the other side of the flood, and in Egypt, and serve you Yahweh. And if it seem evil unto you to serve Yahweh, choose you this day whom you will serve. Whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites, in whose land you dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve Yahweh.
You have to make a statement. You have to decide and make a decision for yourself. But as for me and my house, we will serve Yahweh. This is the love story about Yahweh and his wife getting things worked out and getting things back in the order that they are supposed to be in. That's all that we're going to do for today. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.